Aloha, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our scenario is entitled The Cobalt Sky Runner. It was written by Matt Ryan and Noah Lloyd and is available on their website, Reckoning of the Dead. And this is version 2. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. There she is, a floating monster of a ship, a luxury resort on the water, shining, gleaming in the afternoon sunlight. Crowds of people in garish colors line the docks, impatiently bleating and gibbering to one another. The ship's personnel, dressed in spotless white and gold, take tickets, secure luggage, and do their best to smile and be pleasant while herding everyone on board. Excitement greets you as you walk up the gangway into the belly of the fabulous Cobalt Sky Runner. This sure beats any cruise ship you've been on before. It's a city on the sea. The ship will set off tonight on what will ultimately be a 14-day cruise to the Hawaiian Islands. You needed this. The life of an author may be physically easy, but mentally, it's a bitch. You and your friends meander together through the crowds to Deck 6, what the ship calls the Dolphin Deck, and there you find your staterooms, and you enter. Jimmy, take over.
It feels so good to be finally on vacation. It feels like it's been a year or two since I've been able to get away from that desk.
It has been a year since you've been away from your desk. I asked you out like 8 times this last year, and you were always too busy.
You know, I was finishing up my book. It's going to be a bestseller, I'm telling you.
Hey, you've been working on that for 5 years.
Yeah, well, it's Rolling Stonehenge, the Druidic connection with Mick Jagger, you know.
Right.
The room
Just
itself,
as long as you don't bust out a diaper here.
the room is beautiful. It's small. The rooms, you have 2 rooms. They're small because it's on a cruise ship, but they're like small hotel rooms. You're not going to spend a lot of time. The ship is big enough that you probably will barely be able to feel it moving. And your balcony, you both have balconies. Both rooms have balconies, and they hang about 100 feet above the ocean below.
Wow. Beautiful.
Much nicer room than that hotel we had back in Providence, right, Chip, at that writers' conference?
Oh, my God. That was a hole in the wall.
If hole in the wall even counts, it might be an insult to hole in the walls.
I remember playing cards with the cockroaches for 3 hours, so.
Did you win?
I lost, man. I lost.
Yeah, they cleaned him out. I had to write a whole other book just to make up the losses.
So you're there only for about 15 minutes, putting your stuff away and getting everything ready. And there's a knock on your door, and a steward by the name of Rupa Lagari is there, and he's got a clipboard. And he says, "Gentlemen, are you Francis Gellery and Brian Young and Chip Goodsprings?"
That is us.
I've got you listed here as you're a group altogether, yes?
Yeah.
Well, we have kind of a lottery that we do at the beginning of each cruise, and the 3 of you have won a breakfast, a private breakfast with the captain tomorrow morning at Poseidon's in a separate room. It's a private room. So here are your tickets to show, and they'll Captain Barkley is this is her 4th run, and she is a very interesting woman. I think you'll all enjoy her company.
Oh, excellent. Captain Barkley. All right. That's tomorrow morning? What time?
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's 8 o'clock, Francis. I need you to remember this time.
Is there anything I can do for you, gentlemen? Before?
All right. 8:30, no problem.
Just point us to the closest bar, and we'll be on our way.
Well, if you go up towards the top, you'll find just about everything you can imagine.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
I give him
Yes,
a
thank
tip.
you.
And he leaves.
Sounds good.
So you guys get all your stuff together, and you put your stuff away, and you start to explore the ship. And the ship has fabulous amenities. It's got four I almost said restrooms. It's got
Four.
Ooh, can you
Sounded more like
imagine
that hole in
lines?
the wall we were talking about earlier.
I did that last night too. It's got 4 restaurants. It's got everything you can think of. It's got skydiving simulators and an observation pod, and it's got rock climbing walls, and it's got a spa, and it's got a golf course, and just about everything that you can imagine. So you spend the evening, more or less, exploring the ship. Is there anything you'd like to do tonight, or we can just move on to the next part, to tomorrow
Just
morning?
blow off some steam, have a few drinks, and explore the ship, get to know out the layout a little bit.
Okay, all the food, of course, is free. All of the drinks are free. Everything is very nice. So you enjoy your evening, and next morning, you wake up bright and early. The sea air and all of that. At some point during the evening, you weren't even aware of when it happened. The ship left dock, and you find when you look out the windows, you are at sea, and going pretty fast, I guess, for whatever cruise ships. I don't know how fast they actually travel. Okay, so let's say it's 45 minutes, before 8 o'clock. So 7:15. What do you guys want to do?
We'll make sure Francis is awake. That's priority number 1.
I'm not, by the way.
Yeah, go knocking on your door. Francis!
What's going on?
Got 45 minutes before we have the breakfast.
Oh, right. Okay, so, all right. Yeah, I'll be right there. And I'll get dressed and whatnot.
I think you written Sleeping Beauty or something. I don't know.
I put on my bright red jacket. I comb my beard out and tease my hair out.
Okay. So you all get ready, and you decide that you're going to head down to the restaurant. Actually, you're heading up to the restaurant. The restaurant is called Poseidon's, and exactly what you think. It's got kind of a mythological sort of theme to it, an ocean theme. There's a big statue of Poseidon with his trident, held high. And the person at the restaurant takes your tickets, and she says, "Oh, you're going to be eating with the captain, right this way," and takes you into a room that's attached to the restaurant. It's not mirrors, it's glass all the way around, so you're looking out over the ocean. The room is predominantly blue. The table is small and intimate, so you will all be sitting there with just the captain when she shows up. You're not there more than a few minutes, and the captain enters along with one of her stewards. I keep saying one of her stewards, who is the same guy that you saw last night. His name, as you recall, they all have name tags. His name is Rupa Lagari.
What's his name?
Rupa Lagari. He's Indian. So Captain Regina Barkley enters. Let me show you her picture. She's not a very tall woman. She has brown hair and sort of hazel eyes. She seems a rather plain woman. She's not wearing any makeup, but she has a smile. She comes in. She's got a little bit of a dignified air to her. She steps inside and she says, "Please, gentlemen, have a seat. I'm Captain Regina Barkley, and welcome to the Cobalt Skyrunner.
Well, thank you.
Now, Chip is kind of an ass, so he jumps up and salutes her, and he goes, "Aye, aye, Captain," but not being serious, like he thinks this is what you're supposed to do. And he's like, "Aye, aye, Captain,"
She's like, oh.
and he's just standing. And he's now, you see, he's only 5'2", a very thin frame, maybe 120 pounds soaking wet, skinny. And he's just standing like that.
At ease there, Chip.
She's like,
it's the captain.
She's like, oh, please, have a seat. Rupa tells me that you are all authors. That's very interesting. What sort of work do you do?
I specialize in cryptozoology, and I look around. I'm like, honestly, you could tell me off the record, how many mermaids have you really seen, please? And I have the microphone in my hand, and I'm like, off the record, please.
Well, we've seen some interesting things, I suppose, but never a mermaid. No, I'm sorry.
Kraken?
no Kraken.
Click, and I stopped there.
But I'm sure you've heard of the Dan Dangerous detective series of novels.
Yes, I have actually. Yeah. Isn't that what's the first one called? Through the something.
Oh yes, that would be through the. I mean, when you write like 14 of them.
No, I've read a few of those. Yeah, I think they're fun. They're interesting.
Yes, Through the Curtain. That's what it was.
Through the Curtain. That's the one. Yeah, of course.
You might know one of my latest books. It's Jesus, the Man, the Myth, the Extraterrestrial, Uncovering the Cosmic Truth.
So it sounds like you sort of specialize in the unusual.
How could you tell? He hides it so well.
Yeah.
It's really what makes him such a fun guy.
And you, Mr. Gellery, what sort of stuff do you write?
Oh, well, you see, in high school, I always wanted to be a cop, but never quite made the cut there. So I decided to follow what cops have done and work on telling the public about what we're doing.
You're breaking up just a little bit there.
He's a little tired. You got to give him a couple hours in the morning.
So crime, true crime.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't have my caffeine yet.
Well, the caffeine's coming, yes. And of course, they bring you the breakfast, and it's delicious, and everything is fine.
Is there any mermaid in this? I just want to make sure for Chip's sake.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the Chinese believe that if you eat the flesh of a mermaid, you live forever. So my guess is that all those immortals that are out there did away with the mermaids eventually by eating them all.
There's still a few left. I think they're off the coast of Jamaica.
So do you have any other extracurricular activities? Do you gentlemen like nature? Do you like going out into the woods, exploring volcanoes?
I like computers and video games.
What's your reason for going to Hawaii? Just relax?
Get away from my desk.
The ship's a party ship, so certainly enjoy yourself. So about this time, and you guys have pretty much finished your breakfast. Rupa comes back. He'd been in and out because he's not eating. He's working. Rupa comes back in, and I'd like you to all do a spot hidden.
I pass. Just a regular success, though. 43 out of 50.
I failed.
I failed.
Okay. When you look at Rupa, if you passed, you notice that he seems pretty disturbed or upset about something as he comes back in. He goes over to the captain, who's talking to you and enjoying yourself, and he doesn't really interrupt her, but he ultimately leans down, and she sort of leans towards him, and he says something to her quietly, and she's like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well," and she says, "Just say it out loud." And he says, "Well, Captain, I'm sorry, but there's been a murder." And she says, what do you mean a murder?" And he says, there's and he looks over at you three, and she's like, "Gentlemen, excuse me for just a moment." And she stands up and sort of goes over to the side of the room, and they talk to one another. Go ahead and do a listen roll. See if you
Okay. I made it by 1 point, 39 out of 40.
Yep, and I passed with a 43 out of 50.
Okay. So those of you who passed, you can sort of hear.
I rolled 99.
So
Caffeine hasn't quite kicked in yet.
you want to listen, but you keep taking that fork and sticking it in your ear.
Yeah, I'm still.
You can overhear a bit, and it says,
Just pounding the coffee.
it says there was a man found this morning up on the Lido deck on the golf course, and his head's been bashed in. And she's like, "Well, this is unacceptable on my ship. I'm responsible for all of the passengers. I don't know what to do at this point. We can't just turn around and go back to Long Beach, and we're going to be at sea for 4 days. We don't have the kind of personnel that are trained in solving this kind of, if we've got a murderer on board, we need to identify who it is." So,
well, Francis, isn't it your lucky day?
he's like, "Well,
What are you talking about?
do?" And she says,
Get
"Well,
up before 7.
she says, we have to keep this under wraps because it could ruin the reputation of the ship, and people are not going to want to be on the ship where somebody's been murdered." And of course, Rupa says, "Well, I've had the body taken to the sick bay," and anyways, you hear more or less that. Do you guys want to do anything, or do you want to just wait it out?
I look at the guys, first of all, and I give them the eye, like, let's investigate this. If they give me the nod too, maybe we'll say something to the captain.
Hey, Captain.
Yes, gentlemen. I'm afraid that I'm going to have to sort of call our time together short. There's been an accident, and I need to take care of it. I need to look into the matter.
Well, hey, sorry, I couldn't help but overhear. Sorry, always looking for them story ideas. But I think our man Francis here, just pat him on the arm. He writes about this kind of stuff all the time. He should know what to do.
You are a crime novelist, yeah. Do you have any training in like forensics or anything like that?
I've got a bit. I studied the theory. I've never really worked on it personally, but
well, I don't want to intrude on your vacation, but if you were willing to help, if we can, if you overheard, you understand that somebody's been murdered. We need to see if we can figure out who committed the murder.
I mean, I'll investigate. I'll keep I won't say anything to any of the other guests. Just
Oh yes, please don't say anything to anyone. When we arrive in Hawaii, the authorities will take over the problem. But we can't really do anything until then. I need to go and look into this at the moment. I will have Rupa come and find you when we're ready for you. So she says, excuse me, and she goes. Now, she seems very upset, okay, obviously. So she goes, and Rupa goes. And your breakfast is almost over. Do you want to do anything before later comes?
Just make a jab at Chip about no farewell salute this time.
Oh, well, no, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I wonder if it was one of the passengers or, when they get to Hawaii, whoever doesn't get back on the ship might be the person. Maybe they're going to take off in Hawaii. But until then, we got to figure out.
In my time researching cases, it always comes down to either money or some sort of sick, twisted love triangle, or that's really it. It usually comes down to money or love or lust.
Is there a butler on the board? Because the butler always does it in the books I've read.
It's an excellent point there, Chip.
Actually, you could consider that every single steward is kind of a butler.
Oh, they did it all together. It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Et tu, Brute.
So anyways, whatever you guys are doing for about an hour goes by before Rupa comes down and he finds you. And he says, gentlemen, you understand that we want to keep this under wraps. The people have paid a great deal of money to be on the ship, and they don't need to know about this. It's not important. If you please follow me, we'll go to sick bay. Most people don't realize that there is actually a morgue on board cruise ships, because with 3,500 people do die. It does happen.
Old ladies with heart attacks.
So if you'll accompany me, then we'll go there, and I'll let you take a look.
All right. Has the crime scene been quarantined off?
The crime scene, well, the whole thing took place up on the Lido deck, on the golf course that runs around the swimming pool. There's a 2-hole golf course. The body was found there this morning early by one of the stewards who was doing a routine check, and he says the body was just lying there on the green. He thought it was somebody who was drunk and had passed out, and when he approached, somebody had taken a golf club and bashed his head in.
Now, is that the area? Can you guys say it's under maintenance and close it off until we investigate, please?
It's actually been cleaned up.
Okay.
There's nothing we can do about that. We have to maintain that nothing has happened.
Okay.
So he then takes you to the doctor's office, and there you meet Dr. Hank Thompson. Seems like a nice enough guy. He's got an assistant, and he basically tells you that he's a ship's doctor, so he's not really a surgeon. He can't really deal with any kind of major problem. If somebody has a major problem, he can maybe stabilize them until they get to Hawaii, and then they'll go to the hospital. So he's he can give people aspirin, and he can give them Dramamine and stuff like that.
But he can't save them from getting bashed in the head with a golf club.
Right. And so he takes you to the locker, and inside there is a body. The body is the body of a man. Looks like he's maybe 35 years old. He's at the moment lying face down, and he's face down because the whole back end of his head had been smashed in, and laying next to him on the thing is a 9-iron. That was the weapon that was used. So what would you guys like to do?
Oh, well, I'll go over and take a look at the head, like the angle of the strike.
Well, first off.
Yeah, well, it looks like somebody just, wow, like that, you know.
Coming down on top of it or from
No,
behind?
right in the back, like this.
Right in the back. Hmm.
They must have got him from behind. Is there any bruising anywhere else on the body?
Do a spot hidden for me.
It's a pass with a 29. Not a
Okay.
hard success, though.
Well, as he's lying there and you're sort of looking over what you can see, you notice that on the side of his head, you can't see the front because he's laying on his front, but the side of his head is very red. And there might be something in the front. So you can't really see unless you like roll him over or turn his head.
Okay, but there's nothing else, like, anywhere else?
You don't really see anything.
So no
he's
real signs
not-
of struggle.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any signs of a struggle.
Now I'm gonna look at. Does he have any like tattoos or anything on him that I could see? I'm gonna
Nothing.
look for vampire marks. Maybe it was at night. It had to be a vampire.
I don't think vampires use 9 irons there, Chip. That's only Krakens. Krakens are
Mm,
9
good.
irons.
No, you don't see anything like that. But you also notice the sort of red patch. That the front of his face seems to be redder, quite a bit redder than the back of his.
Can I take a good look at it? See if there's anything noticeable? Or...
Well, you can turn his head, you know, if you want to see. And when you turn his head, this is what you see. And why isn't it showing up?
So, Doc, did anyone recover a wallet or any form of identification?
Oh wow! And that's on his forehead, like
On his forehead. Yes, he's identified as Mr. Whoops. He's identified as Mr. Peter Huxton.
All right. And did Mr. Peter come with any friends or family? Is there any record of that?
He's actually single.
and he's on board alone and only person in his cabin.
Yes.
That's unusual. Cruises are usually double occupancy bookings.
This, by the way, is branded onto his flesh.
Oh.
That's burned on.
And it's brand new.
I'm going to take a sanity point or roll.
Okay.
I passed, but I'm still going to take 1 point. Can I make it an occult roll?
Sure.
See if I recognize what the symbol is?
While you're doing that, the doctor says, our best guess is that this happened sometime after 2 a.m. So,
I failed that roll.
okay. Yeah, I mean, there's things about it that look vaguely familiar because, you know, it looks kind of like a Capricorn symbol and the sun symbol, but it might not mean that at all. You know, it might be something else. Yeah, their best guess is that it happened around 2:15, 2:30 in the morning.
What was he doing at a golf course at 2:30 in the morning?
That's a good question.
Yep.
So is there
I
curfew on
wonder
the ship?
that.
No, there's not. There's no
Did
curfew.
they say his name? I'm sorry, I missed that.
His name is Peter
Peter
Huxton.
That's funny.
All right. Oh. And there wasn't anything else located in the area of his body? Anything at all?
No, nothing unusual other than that. Well, there's the golf club.
Can we meet with the person who found him? The maintenance worker or porter that found him?
Sure, that would be
And is there any security cam footage of that area?
no, there's very few security cameras on board the ship. It's People like their privacy. Mr. Thomas Swain was the guy who found it, but he's given a full report. He told us that he regularly, he goes around to check to make sure that things are in order before the morning. He goes out early to cover the ship, and that he saw somebody lying on the green and thought that it was a drunk person, and when he approached, he realized there was a pool of blood, and he immediately alerted security, and that's what they found. So he didn't see any, and it's nothing other than that to his story. So if you'd like to talk to him, you can, but there's really no point.
Well, gentlemen, I think we should go golfing. Take a look at the area.
Okay.
Yeah,
I agree.
Crimes committed out of impulse. The person usually returns to the scene of the crime. Maybe if someone's acting weird, give us something to look into.
Well, definitely. And I'm not sure if it was a crime of passion, because it seemed to be some kind of like surprise, took him totally off guard. Came here alone.
I wonder if he was waiting for somebody there, like, oh, meet me at the golf course at 2 a.m. or something.
Well, it's very possible he was just smoking. The golf course is on. There's only one deck higher, which is the sun deck, and the sun deck is just a partial, deck. The golf course is open to the sky, and the swimming pool is in between. So,
Well, did he have cigarettes on him?
No, there's no cigarettes on him. But
did he have any money on him?
There's money in his wallet.
And then was it robbery gone?
It doesn't look like robbery.
Yeah.
And it would be odd. A robbery's pretty rare on this kind of a ship. I mean, there's people who pilfer things from the ship.
Right, and you don't really need walking around money. Most of the stuff is taken care of. So
right, and this place cost you about $4,000 to get. So if you didn't have money already, what are you doing on the ship?
Yeah, you won it from a bunch of roaches back in Providence.
Of course, I could take that back and say, there's members of the crew that, there's maintenance crew and stuff like that. They're not exactly rich.
Right.
I mean, nobody's,
There seems easier ways to get petty money than bashing.
Doing research for this game, I found out that like ships captains on these big cruise ships, they only make like $80,000 a year. It's not a huge amount. Of course, they get a ship and all their food and all their accommodations. But so anyways, there's all sorts of possibilities. All right, so let's say you go up. Now, by this time, there's people milling about. There's people swimming. There's maybe a few people doing some morning golfing. And it's not much more than a couple of putting greens, that go around the ship. You're right. We'll say that Rupa identifies for you the area that it took place. And there doesn't seem to be anything special about it or unusual, and they've cleaned everything up. So
I want to stand and I'll wait my turn while people golf and then get up to it. I want to stand in the exact location and then just kind of nonchalantly stretch, but look at the whole peripheral around, just to see what's in the line of sight, like maybe.
Pretty much everything. I mean, you got the pool, you got the sun deck a little bit above you. You've got the ropes. There's kind of a rope climbing thing where people can climb. You climb up and you do like zip lines across, and you swing here, and it's like a rope. What do they call it? Like a rope course. And there's a climbing wall over there, and it's a party ship. So,
okay, but where is the? Also looking from. Kind of standing next to him, looking around. Where's the closest entrance to below deck?
Probably 20 feet away. There's stairs going down to the deck below, which is also partly open to the sky as well. So, the tops of the ships are multi-level.
So, gentlemen, either you versed in golf?
No, not at all.
Well, I played like 3 times with my cousin. If that counts as versed, then I'm versed. But
I watched
do
it.
you know
Sorry, go.
more than me? Do you know if they women's golf club or if they use the same?
I don't know. I just use the clubs that are handed to me. So if somebody's been
I think in
pulling a joke.
general, it's. I don't think there's a men's or women's golf club, but there is definitely, depending on how tall you are, you're going to have custom golf clubs. In this case, this is just sort of a lender's set of golf clubs. This would have been available just over
to rent or
over
whatever.
there. Yeah.
Or just
Anyway, is there anything else you'd like?
About how big was it just like a Eric size one?
It was a 9-iron, which is it's the slicey looking one that you use to send the ball.
Like they're silver generally. They don't have any color, just straight metal.
So hitting somebody with that would be a deadly weapon to hit somebody.
Yeah. So I want to canvas because there's like green and stuff, which I've assumed they've replaced some of it because of the blood and whatnot.
No,
but I want to look for.
They're pretty efficient at cleaning it up. It's artificial turf.
I'm gonna look for any burn marks.
No burn marks.
Nothing. Nobody flicking cigarettes or anything. Just all right.
It's in pretty much pristine condition.
So Francis, that brand that we saw on his forehead, do you think that was some kind of like a serial killer? Some kind of nonsense going on here?
It could be if it was some sort of calling card. I took my cell phone, right? I mean,
yes,
they're allowed on. Yeah.
You guys have your cell phones, your laptops, whatever you need, whatever you would bring.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do like some Google searching to see if there's anything similar that happened in Long Beach, California.
Okay. Go ahead and do a computer roll. By the way, the date that started was June 8th, 2018. So it's now June 9th, 2018.
All right.
I didn't think we had service out here. Otherwise, I would have looked up that symbol on mine.
Well, they have some way of getting that to you.
Some satellite Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I assume that's why we were on a cruise ship.
Well, you don't have to use it, but
No, that's why I didn't even go there.
Be surprised how many people would say, I ain't going on that cruise and having fun if I don't have my Wi-Fi and my
Wow.
You gotta play Angry Birds or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're cruising,
Bird, let's go.
like 2012 or something.
Oh, I haven't played Angry Birds in a long time.
That's the cruise from the past.
I wish you hadn't said that, because probably tomorrow I'll look up Angry Birds. All right, so you're going to look something up on the internet. What?
I botched the roll pretty bad. So
okay, yeah, you don't find anything about any kind of serial
finds cattle brands
like that. By the way, the brand mark is only about that big. It's a little brand. Okay. Right about there on his forehead.
And it was pretty definite, so it's not like somebody had one piece of hot metal and was like drawing it. It looked like they had a previously made like stamp to it.
Yes.
Which is creepy.
Yeah. It's not unsettling at all.
I need some inspiration, and I order a Singapore sling.
Okay. Any kind of drinks you guys want, that's fine. Chip, did you say you were going to look up the symbol on the internet?
Yeah, I'm going to look up that symbol, correct. That would be a computer use? Or...
Yeah, but tell me what you get.
Oh, 3. Oh, yeah, no.
He's got some mad Google foo going on.
Well, you find things that are very similar to it. Um, it looks very much at first like astrological symbols. And it looks like it's almost composed out of astrological symbols. It definitely has a Capricorn sort of look to it. I think that's Capricorn, isn't it? Like this.
Believe so.
That sounds right.
And it's definitely some sort of possibly like a magic symbol. But there's a lot of different, groups. There's that use symbolism like this. It's definitely not a letter of the alphabet or anything like that. And you don't find really anything about branding it into people's skin. People might get tattoos of things that are similar, but yeah, you don't find anything definite.
Yeah. So I tell them, guys, I don't find anything really solid lead with this. I think we're just going to have to do some good old-fashioned investigation. And
have we looked at his Facebook page? This Peter guy, Peter fella?
You look for Peter. You look for Peter Huxley Facebook page, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens of them. Do a luck roll, see if you can find his.
Nope.
Yeah, you don't find his. You don't see his picture or anything.
Just scroll through it a little bit and whatever.
What if we set the parameters to be to try Long Beach, California?
Well, he was already looking in Long Beach to see if there was any serial sort of things there, and didn't find anything. There's no records. Of course, sometimes they don't release those things to the public if the police are working on them.
I think we need to walk around the golf course at night, maybe. Or at least around the ship at night. Pretend to be a little drunk and see what happens. Keep an earshot of each other.
Well, one thing to bear in mind.
I'm going to need a few drinks.
You're certainly welcome to do that. Bear in mind, this ship is 1,124 feet long and 154 feet wide with, 154 feet wide with 14 decks. So it could take you days to walk all the way around.
Yeah. Well, my thinking was to be on one of the topper or more secluded areas at night.
Sure. All right.
What time of day is it right now? It's still early, right?
Yeah, it's fairly early. We'll say it's, around noon. I assume, well, unless you can think of something you want to do, we can assume that you have lunch and you think about this and you try to search the internet, finding some.
I was going to go see if they had like a bookstore to go find the type of book section that Chip's books could be found in, trying to see if there's any kind of crazy.
There's definitely a bookstore. But it's just got generic, stuff like you'd find it in an airport.
All Stephen King novels. And
yeah, stuff like that.
Harry Potter. Yeah.
If any of you have had best-selling novels, maybe they're there.
There's Dan Dangerous.
There's probably Dan Dangerous.
Yes. I take a selfie with me and my books. Yep. Take a couple pictures. I just signed some on the shelf and put it back.
So the day wears on, and you really are kind of at a loss. You can't think of anything that's happened. So let's move on. The evening comes. You guys have fun. You enjoy yourselves, and the night comes, and you go to bed. Or were you guys going to try looking around?
No, we're looking around.
Yeah, I would think that the investigative part of us would compel us to do something at least.
Okay. Well, the one thing that the one thing about investigating that most people don't realize is that it's boring. So You guys end up walking around for a while, and after a couple of hours, if you even last that long, you're like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be having fun. You're tired. You're a little drunk. You're probably going to go to bed. You know, you've seen nothing. Now, you've seen lots of people. There's 3,500 people on board the ship. And you see every type of people. You see people who are happy and enjoying themselves, laughing, frolicking. You see people who are arguing with one another. You see people who are screaming at their kids.
Alone and depressed.
Yeah.
How many people about are, on average, do we notice, like, on the top deck?
Well, the top deck's got most of the stuff on it. So there's areas there where there's dancing and stuff like that that's just fucking crowded.
Okay, even at 2 in the morning?
Well, not at 2 in the morning, but I'm not sure that you've lasted until 2 in the morning.
Okay.
It's pretty heavy. Now the weather is nice. The weather is beautiful. You look up in the sky. It's filled with stars. There's a crescent moon. The air is just the right temperature. Everything is nice. And you know, you couldn't be happier with this trip, and you've got a murder mystery. So maybe this will be a great trip.
Yeah.
Anyways, you eventually go to bed. The next morning, you get up, and right about 7:30. Well, what time do you guys get up? Once again, the sea air kind of gets you up early. You know, you just feel like you're refreshed.
I get up at the crack of 8:30.
Okay. The ship, you can barely feel it moving. It's a big ship, so it's not rocking. The water is as smooth as glass. Right about 9 o'clock, as you guys are getting ready to go get some breakfast, there's a knock on your door. And when you open the door, you're confronted with a big woman. She's dressed as a steward. She's big, and she's blonde. And I don't mean big fat. She's big. She's got blue eyes. She's got blonde hair. And her name tag reads Patricia Swift. And she's obviously like a Norwegian giant, Chinaman. Right. And she says, gentlemen, are you, she gives you your names. She says, the captain wishes to see you this morning. And she says, there has been another one. And she says, if you are ready, please accompany me.
As going between to Francis, I told you, Siri.
Go ahead and do a psychology roll.
Which one?
Psychology.
I meant which of us, but yeah.
All of you.
Oh, I got a 96. Serial killer.
I got a 91.
And how about Francis?
I got a 49 out of 45.
Okay.
So close.
Well, I'll say that that Brian and Chip, you're kind of like, wow, that's a woman. And Francis, it's a woman, but she's very emotional. She's very stoic, very emotionless. This is my job. We are going to get the job done, and she's a no nonsense. She's icy, I guess is how you'd say it. So she's like, come with me. She's no nonsense. So please come with me. Now, at first you think that she's going to take you to see the captain, like at the captain's quarters or the bridge or something like that. But instead she's leading you down towards the IMAX theater. And as you're approaching the doors to the IMAX theater, the captain is standing there. And she's got a couple of stewards, and you see Rupa. and she sees you, and she's got a very upset and stern look on her face. And she looks over at you and she says, "Gentlemen, I'm afraid that there's been another incident." And she sort of motions for you to go into the theater. There's a couple of other stewards there. What you find is in one of the seats, one of the aisle seats, about halfway down, there is a man sitting in one of the seats, and he has been garroted with a nylon cord around his neck. And in his forehead is another brand, the same brand.
I'm going to make a sanity roll. That is freaky. I don't like this.
Holy shit. I got a 6%.
I passed with a 26 out of 60. I'm still going to take a point, though. I'm disturbed.
Okay.
I passed 38.
Okay. So you can take a point if you want. I mean, you're kind of now expecting to see something.
Mm-hmm.
The captain says to you, "This has to stop. This can't be happening on board the ship. This could ruin the reputation of the ship. We have to figure this out. Now, nobody has been in here. The last show ended a little after midnight. This was cleared out. By 1 a.m., the place was cleaned, and the crew were locking up the theater. So it would have had to have happened after that point. And they didn't find him until, well, just half an hour ago, when they came in here to open up everything."
But he was killed after they had already closed up for the night? All our cleaning?
Yeah, he wasn't here. He wasn't here when they cleaned up around 1 a.m.
And you said the doors were locked?
Yes.
Were any of the locks forced?
No, there's no sign of any kind of break-in.
So someone has a key.
Gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with Patricia and some of these other stewards, but I have duties. I have to go. So please keep me informed if you find anything out. If you figure out who this is. And the captain and Rupa leave, and the Ice Queen is standing over to the side.
So before they leave, can I make a spot hidden to just take a glance at their hands?
Sure.
Oh, I thought it was 16. It's a 61. Never mind.
Okay, yeah, you don't see anything.
Darn.
Why don't the rest of you do spot hiddens?
Ooh, hard success, 24.
Chip, you're muted.
Just made it with 1 point to spare.
Okay. Brian, you notice almost immediately that his left shoe is missing.
Okay, so now this killer is branding people and taking their left shoe? What the heck? I'm going to get down to kind of look closer at that foot to see if it's hurt or it has one of our shoe.
Well, the thing that you notice is that the sock is half pulled off.
It's does it look like he was dragged? That's weird.
Missing the shoe and the sock, or just the shoe?
The sock has been pulled halfway off, so it almost looks like something had grabbed him at by the leg and was pulling, which had resulted in the shoe being lost and the sock coming off. But he's sitting in this chair. He was garroted from behind. Ugh. I don't like any of this.
Patricia, is there a lost and found bin on board the ship?
Yeah.
Has anyone found any left shoes that you know of?
We haven't looked. We can look.
Now, I'm assuming the lights are on in the theater, correct? It's
Yes.
not, okay. I'm going to get down and look under the seats. Is there a shoe anywhere? Anything, actually. I'm looking for anything on the floor at this point.
Okay, why don't you do a spot hidden for me?
Past one, fine. 15.
Okay, we'll say that you start looking around, and indeed, you do find the shoe. The shoe is kind of like over by one of the exit doors. And you do get the impression that maybe he was dragged in here and the shoe just sort of came off. And, it's in a place that nobody really notices it until you start looking around. But that's what you can kind of guess.
I don't even pick it up. I just point it out to everybody. So maybe he had the brand, right? I'm sorry, I had the...
Yes.
All right. So maybe... Well, obviously it happened somewhere and he was dragged in here. The shoe got kicked off by the door or by wherever it was. Because it was a quiet place. So, now maybe in the hallway to this place, or
it's possible.
There are alarms on those back doors.
Not really. Actually, yes, there is an alarm. The alarm didn't go off.
So that means the door wasn't open. Francis, what do you think?
Well, I'm trying to think of a possibility. If that back door is alarmed, then they couldn't have used that. But if the other doors, there was no sign of forced entry, that means whoever did this either had a key or is very good at getting around a lock.
That means it could be one of the staff.
Right.
Makes sense to me.
Sorry, continue.
Should we ask where his room was? See if there's anything out of place there.
Well, they haven't taken his wallet out yet to identify him. They were going to let you look at everything before they moved him. So, do you want to find out who he is? Look at his wallet.
Yes.
Well, before we do anything like that, can we get can we ask Patricia to go get us some gloves?
I'm going to think that she's really efficient, that she just...
All right, sounds good. Play it safe.
Now, if we can find out where both of the victims' rooms were, maybe they're next to each other or on the same deck, maybe there's some kind of correlation there.
Okay. Francis, did you want to do a forensics roll?
Sure. I'm a little confused on what this skill is like overall.
Forensics is, when a medical examiner looks at somebody and can tell that how long they've been dead by the lividity of their, the pooling of the blood in the body and
okay, so it's not something I'd need a boatload of equipment for.
Well, if you had it, it would help. But yeah, I mean, it's stuff that you can tell.
Right.
Nobody has any fingerprint kits. So
okay, all right, I'll give it a shot. Let's go. And I continue with my terrible rolls, so that's going to be nothing for me.
Well, as you look him over, you can't really tell whether he was killed in here or whether he was killed somewhere else. But most likely, it seems like he was probably killed somewhere else and then dragged here. And we'll just say that from the feeling of him, whether he's started rigor mortis or whatever, that it must have happened somewhere around 4 or 5 in the morning.
This is pretty recent then.
Yeah.
Man, I want to look at his wallet.
All right. You find out that he is Walter Whitaker. The research that you find, he was obviously strangled with a nylon cord. He is apparently, well, I guess I find this out some other way. It looks like he's married.
He has a wedding ring?
Yeah, he's got a wedding ring. So his wife might be on board. Should be on board.
So let's see if the stewards could locate his wife, and we could ask her a few questions before they tell her about her husband's passing.
Well, they'd probably want the captain to talk to her first, and then. But for the sake of, is there anything else you want to do in the theater? While you're
just same thing. Do that scan of the whole room.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, you I want to look for blood on any of the seats behind where the body is.
Doesn't look like any blood. I mean, there's definitely ligature marks around his neck.
Wasn't killed here.
Just say that you don't find anything else in the theater. And once again, I'm trying to cut the length of the game down. So ultimately, let's say that you go to both of their rooms to look through them. Peter Huxton seemed like just a regular guy on vacation, probably looking to pick up chicks. There's nothing weird or unusual. He's been reading, not one of your books, and he seems perfectly normal. Walter Whitaker is married. However, he's on this cruise by himself. You find some evidence that he's probably estranged from his wife. They're probably getting a divorce. Their home life is not good. He doesn't seem to have kids. And everything else seems just perfectly normal. And his room is nowhere near the other guy's room.
Okay.
Both different sides of the ship.
But they were both alone in their rooms?
Yes. Well, that's not that unusual.
Okay.
But
they don't put you in with strangers, but
right. Now, for all intents and purposes, we could say both of these men were single. So maybe there's some sort of Black Widow aboard.
A Black Widow that's branding people?
Oh, some crazy woman that's taking out men. Just what would my favorite detective, the Pink Panther, do?
I think the Pink Panther was a big pink diamond in that story.
Don't tell him that. We on the DL. We're trying to.
This is Chip Goodsprings talking, not me.
So, you searched through the rooms. You didn't find anything interesting, and shortly thereafter, Patricia Swift shows up again, and she's like, "Gentlemen, there has been another incident.
Already?
Not a murder, though. Something stranger." And she says, "Will you come with me?"
Maybe. Guys.
All right.
So she takes you back to the doctor's office. And what's happened is Peter Huxton's body is missing.
I told you it was vampires.
That you did. When was this noticed?
Well, it was noticed when they were putting the body of Mr. Walter Whitaker into the locker, the freezer.
And nobody had been in here at all this morning?
Well, I mean, the doctor's in the doctor's office, but they've got no reason to go into the morgue.
Right.
You know.
Is the door locked?
Yes.
Was the door locked?
Door's locked. The
So
door is obviously locked, and it's inside the office, which is the doctor's office would also have been locked.
So definitely somebody that has keys.
Yeah.
Which is an unsettling thought.
Do you know if there's any new workers on this ship within the last I don't know what they call them, trips?
There are always new workers.
How many of them would have a set of like master keys?
Oh, not many. Only the upper members. Obviously, the doctor, his assistant, the captain, some of the upper officers on board the ship. She says, "I have one." So maybe a dozen people.
Okay. Because whoever this was could get into the theater and also the doctor's office, so they've got a wide range of keys or a key that opens.
And none of them are new employees.
Can the captain make sure they all actually have their keys? And everyone produce their keys at this current time?
Well, we use our keys all the time. The keys are actually cards.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's like a master key card.
So if a card goes missing, if somebody loses their card, they program a new one and they cancel the old number.
Yeah. Is there a log of the card readers?
No.
Okay. Great.
That's what I was thinking.
Not quite that sophisticated.
Is there any cameras in the doctor's office?
Mm-mm.
And none in the morgue. Okay. His body's just gone.
If they were looking to get rid of evidence, just throw it into the ocean. We'd never find it.
Yep. But
Yeah,
I like Chip's idea, though. Does everybody who has the master access, do they all have their key cards?
Well, nobody's reported a missing key. So
Okay.
Now, if you wanted to get rid of evidence, you wouldn't have branded it in the first place. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. Yeah, they'd want us to see it.
Yeah, because they could have just tossed both these bodies overboard. So why didn't they?
And the other body might have been staged in the theater because he wasn't killed there. He was killed and dragged in. I'm sure he wasn't sat down and choked in the chair.
Right.
So he was killed and brought to the chair and sat down in the chair.
So maybe the guy on the golf course, Peter, was brought there too. Where both of these men go to the same, I guess there's no way to track where they've been.
Right.
Oh, wonder if there's a place where these people are going that somebody decides to follow them home and kill them.
I think you have something with that. That's true. Now, one was estranged and one was single. So maybe they were at the disco or at a bar trying to pick up a woman or a man.
Or is there any like singles activities going on?
all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, too many to.
There's you guys have an itinerary in your thing that shows you yoga classes and swimming classes and just everything that you can think of.
Way too big of a list. Okay.
No shuffleboard. I don't think people actually play shuffleboard anymore.
That's why Brian came on this. He can't play shuffleboard. No. This is. I don't like this.
So, anyways, you're moving into the second evening. Is this your second evening or third evening?
So this will be the.
There was one before the breakfast.
Guys,
There was that night, and then the next one.
This is your third evening. Yeah. Once again, it's a beautiful evening out.
Oh yeah, you're right.
There's the stars are shining. The breeze is pleasant. There's a sliver of a moon. People all over the ship.
Searching. looking around, there's way too many people doing way too many things to find it. So I don't know what we're supposed to do. I vote we just go to bed and maybe this killer has keys, so I want to move something in front of my door.
Well, something that somebody said once pops into your head. If you're ever going to murder somebody, do it on a cruise ship, because it's like the easiest place to
Right.
get away with it, get away with the evidence.
But these people, this person is killing people and just doing this. Yeah. Did they come on this cruise for the specific purpose to kill these two guys, or are they just killing random people?
So, fellas, if you don't mind, I'm realizing that I'm in a room alone and I am a single man. Is it cool if I crash on the chair in your guys' room?
Yeah, of course.
Go ahead. Just
see, we're missing the connection. We have to find the commonality between the two dead men. And if we could find that, maybe it'll.
What about their age ranges?
Yeah, how old were they?
First guy was like 35. The second guy was maybe almost 50.
Okay, can we look at like a passenger manifest? Can we find out like how these people like pay with or whatever? Like if they're from a similar place back on land, like if they lived close together before they came on the cruise ship.
We'll say that you look into all of that. I'm not sure how much would be available to you, but the captain wants you to figure this out. So he's I keep saying he's. She has given you at least a measure of sort of carte blanche. So if you think you need to do something, do it. You find out nothing. I mean, it's you'll find out they're from different parts of the country. That they've probably never lived anywhere near each other.
Never seen each other.
No relation between them. Never saw each other until maybe the ship, and no affiliations that you can find.
Did either of these people have phones on them when they died?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we'll say you go through that. You don't find anything that's, well, you don't have any way to unlock their phones.
Right. No 0000 password.
So let's say that you do whatever you can, and the evening comes. Is there anything you want to do, or do we move to the next day?
I'm good.
Yep, we can move.
Okay. So you go to bed, and you probably wonder just a little bit if the whole thing is going to repeat itself again the next day.
Right. Oh, we should have put the recorder in the empty room to see if anybody went in there in the night.
Oh, we should have.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah, right.
Where did you want to put it?
The Chip's recorder in Francis's room.
Wait, you want to put? Oh, you want to? Okay,
His hand recorder. We want to see if anybody was in there.
Francis's room to see if anybody tries to get phone.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, nothing on it.
Good idea though.
Next morning comes. You're kind of waiting for it, and you have breakfast, and you're thinking, maybe not. And then 10 o'clock comes, and Rupa finds you, and he's like, gentlemen, come with me. He says, as you may have guessed, it continues. And he leads you away. He says, this one was a bit messier. And he leads you towards one of the restaurants, to Valkyrie's, and takes you in through the kitchen where passengers don't normally go. And there is a stairwell that's used by the staff. And in the bottom of the stairwell is a woman. She's been identified as Sylvia Goldberg. She works on the ship. She's not a passenger. And it looks like she was in the process of cleaning table linens for doing the laundry. Early in the morning, she was stabbed 4 times. There's blood all over the place, which they're waiting for you, and then they're going to clean it up. And the mark this time is on her left breast, the brand. You can do sanity rolls for this one because this one's good.
Yeah.
I passed with a 16.
I passed 21.
This isn't right, man. This isn't right.
If you pass, take 1 damage. If you fail, do a 1d3.
Where's my? There you go.
Francis, it'll be okay, man.
Oh God, this is the worst vacation we have ever had, gentlemen.
If I would take playing cards with roaches any day over this.
Absolutely.
Think of the books you're going to write.
Oh my gosh.
I said that's why I look around and I'm like just like low. I'm like I'm kind of enjoying it. I just hope it's not one of us. I'm sick to say, but this is kind of fun. Now the first 2 were both branded. Were they branded on the same side?
Yes.
Or
Was it the left side?
Yes.
And this was on her left breast. Okay. And she's
Actually, I take that back. It was on the right side, on the forehead.
right side on the forehead, left breast? Now, was she stabbed in the chest or where was she?
It looks like she was stabbed, in the front. And unlike the others, well, the guy who got his head bashed in had no expression on his face, so he didn't see anything coming. The guy who'd been garroted obviously had the look of somebody who'd been strangled on his face. This woman has a look on her face kind of terror, and it looks like whoever did this just pinned her up against the wall and started jabbing the knife into her. And then, she fell to the ground and bled to death.
But so only staff members though have access to this stairwell, right?
Well, pretty much everybody in the staff has access. You can go up and down this.
Right. But the key, this is
normally passengers wouldn't
it's got to be a member of the staff then.
Now, I don't know if I'm just grasping at straws, but it was the head, the neck, and then the chest. I don't know if that's just circumstantial or if it means something. It was the top, the middle, and now the center. I don't know if it's working its way down the body or if it just happened to be that way.
Well, if we can't figure this out, I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
Well, what I'm thinking is the other two were men, and the killer took them by surprise, but the third victim was just attacked from the front. It makes me think that whoever the killer is might not have physical strength on their side. They might not be a big, strong person.
Right. That's a good point. But they did strangle that guy and drag him. A small person would have difficulty. But you're right. This is a shift in the attack because now that they've attacked a lady, they didn't do it.
How old was she?
Ambush.
This woman was probably in her late 50s.
Okay. There's no real correlation between their ages.
Yeah. She's been a long employee on the ship.
Okay, that's just what I was about to ask.
Hmm.
Is her key card still on her?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm sure hers would be a lower level access anyway. Restaurant and food pantries or something.
Closets and things like that.
Now there's 3,500 guests. Well, there were 3,500 guests and probably 500 employees maybe?
Yeah. I didn't research how many employees would be on. Yeah, probably that.
So we're looking at 4,000 possible suspects.
And there's it's interesting because these cruise ships, they have secret areas. There's actually, they have their own restaurant. They have all of their own cabins.
Like a little store.
Their own entertainment areas. probably even their own swimming pool. You know,
right?
And it's just situated in such a way that you don't see it when you're on the ship.
Well, gentlemen, I might be losing my mind, but I want to go make sure that our other body hasn't just walked off.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, let's hurry down there as fast as we can.
Okay. So you head back to the doctor's office, and the doctor is there. Gentlemen, is everything okay?
No. We want to make sure that the other body isn't missing.
Oh, well, nobody's been in here. Everything was locked up when I arrived this morning. And he walks over to the vault and opens up the door, and the body is missing.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't understand. How is this possible?
So what we need to do, we take Chip's recorder. Because if this pattern continues, we put her body in, and we stash this recorder somewhere, and we listen back through it and try to see what happens. Maybe set up a phone that's like video recording.
I was going to say we could set up the laptop to record as a decoy, so when they break the laptop, then the other recording device picks it up.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Right. We can go get some.
You know, it just suddenly occurred to me what you were saying. Francis, you have a recorder?
No, me, Chip. I have a little, like writer, like, an idea, like a little digital recorder. You click it.
2018, do those things even exist?
Yeah, dude. It's not a cassette tape. It's just a digital.
Okay.
Digital.
Yeah, okay. I just thought you'd have one of these cassette tape recorder things.
No. They have them. They're like, like the size of it, like, and you just.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know those things.
No, this isn't it, but yeah.
Right,
All
but
right.
It does have like a little like camera card in it, like there.
Yeah.
So what did you want to set up?
Well, I want to set up. I want to go to like a gift store or something, buy like a digital camera as the biggest memory stick I can find, and set that up recording in the morgue. We want to set up his sound recording, and we want to set up a laptop that's an obvious thing that's recording to see if they still what happens.
Okay.
So the laptop is a decoy, like there, like with the little dot, the light on it. So if anybody comes in, they'll break the laptop or steal the laptop, but the other camera will be hidden somewhere in the room.
You guys must have made a lot of money on your books if you're just willing to throw a laptop away.
This will be the biggest thing. Plus, by signing a confidentiality agreement, we're going to have cruises for the rest of our life for free.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, that's a good point.
actually, to sort of the thing is that if the murder comes out after it's been solved, then there's not much of a problem. It's scaring the people that are on board the ship right now.
Right, but the company's going to want to keep their name all golden and not have this released to the public like, the murder cruise.
It's like people dying at Disneyland. It happens, but they don't let you find out about it.
Right.
Because they cover it up. And then I want to be on the side of the cover-up.
All right, so what? That's you're gonna put some sort of recording device in the morgue.
Yes.
Right.
Several.
Yeah. Any possible angles plus obvious ones to be thrashed.
At some point during this day, the captain does find, or you guys get called to the captain, and you can see that she's upset, obviously. I can't believe this is happening aboard my ship. My reputation is at stake. The ship is at stake. I hope that we can solve this. Go ahead and do a psychology roll on that.
I failed.
I failed.
I found.
Okay. Well, you can tell she's upset.
Upset.
Okay. She seems almost, I don't know how to say it, despondent. Okay. When you first met her, she seemed rather bright. and now she seems rather dim. She's got the responsibility of the whole ship. She's got this going on her ship. Please find out what's going on. And she gives whatever updated information you have. And with that, you guys go back to whatever you're doing.
Actually, I was going to say, guys, let's cut to the chase. Instead of let's have the equipment in there too. But you know what? Let's stay in there tonight with the other body.
It's like 40 degrees, or I don't know, however meatless.
But we could wait inside the doctor's office.
Inside maybe the doctor's office.
Have the blinds cracked just a little bit. And look out.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't like that idea unless one of us is packing and they didn't let us take our guns. So.
Yeah, you would be directly confronting whoever it was.
Well, we could get knives from the kitchen. There's 3 of us. And this person obviously isn't confident enough to take on anybody who isn't alone.
Well, let me point out another thing is there is only one way into the doctor's office. And although there are a couple of ways to get to the doctor's office, they can all be observed. There's lots of places you could hide, a stairwell or whatever, and just keep your eyes on the doctor's office.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter where we stay, but I'm just saying maybe instead
of the doctor's office, yeah.
In fact, you're pretty sure that from one of the decks, even above, there's places where you could see, the only way the person could move if they were getting a body or going in.
Right. Okay. And there's no giant vents or something in the morgue that somebody could crawl through. Or
no.
Okay.
That only happens in.
This isn't like the alien ship, with the
right
giant vents, morgues and okay.
Maintenance shafts
everywhere.
That part of that movie always irritated me because I'm like, come on, how could you forget that you have a hanging ceiling?
Like, oh crap, guys! Yeah, just slips the mind, but anyway. Stakeout time.
All right, so if that's what you're going to do tonight, we'll say that you hang out in such a place that you would be able to see anybody coming and going to the doctor's office, but you wouldn't be close enough to where they could, they would notice you. And I'll let you figure out how you want to handle it if you do find somebody. Okay. I mean,
is there a security number for the ship security staff?
Maybe so. Yeah.
Okay. Just if we see something going down, we're gonna call them.
Okay.
Yeah, we're supposed to find out who did it, not actually confront them.
All right.
We'll just send Francis after him. It's fine. Just toss him.
So,
if I don't like this idea.
Okay. Well, you're far enough away from Francis that you could get away if anything goes down. So, the evening comes, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. By 1 o'clock, most people are starting to go to bed. Parties are winding down. There's still a few people straggling around, people going to the edge of the deck, smoking and stuff like that. How much do you want to commit to this? Because now it's going to be like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. The ship is quiet.
Well, I figure as Francis gets more and more like nervous, he's just been like caffeinating the hell out of himself. So I'm talking like coffee, energy drinks, like trying to calm himself down, and he's just kind of wiring himself.
And I'm sure talk to Chip about something I'm sure he has stashed on board with him that gives your brain a little jolt.
Everybody do a spot hidden.
I pass. Barely though. 47 out of 50.
63 out of 50. I missed it.
Francis, did you pass?
No, I put my points in stealth, not spot hidden.
Okay, so Mr. Young, you guys are all sort of quietly chit-chatting and you're looking around, all that. Brian, you look over and you see a shadow that's obviously a person. fairly big person, but you can't quite see the details. But you see the person move to the doctor's door out of the shadows and unlock it and go inside. There's just a couple minutes, and the person comes back out with obviously a body like this, slung over the shoulder, and starts moving towards the back of the ship.
Okay. So I start dialing security. It's like, guys, we gotta follow this person. We can't let him get away.
Okay. The phone rings and rings and rings. The person is getting out of your sight unless you're going to follow along.
I'm following him.
All right.
I was going to follow.
All right. So you're following along. Eventually, security answers. Security.
Wait,
yes, security.
They're taking the body to the back of the ship. They stole it from the doctor's office.
What are you talking about?
We're looking into the murders that have occurred.
Oh,
who stole the body out of the morgue? They're heading towards the back of the ship. We are in
where are you at?
Look at, is there hallway names, stuff like labeled?
Yeah,
I read on where we're going, like what direction we're heading, what hallway.
All right, we'll be there in a few minutes. Don't do anything foolish.
Does it look like he's getting close enough to the railing of the boat?
This person is moving along, and finally they step out, and a light hits them, and you can see that it's Patricia Swift, the steward, the big German woman, or the big Icelandic woman, and she's just walking rather calmly with this body over her shoulder, and she'll probably be at the back of the ship in just a few more steps.
Before she dumps the body, I'm gonna put my cell phone light on, and I'm gonna point it at her, and I'm like, "Freeze, police!"
Oh, well, you're quite a ways away.
Oh, I'm away? Okay, I wasn't sure how far.
You guys are maybe 30 feet away.
So I'm going to start recording it.
Okay.
At least we got her on tape.
You too, Brian? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, you see her go to the back of the ship and just sort of unceremoniously throw the body over. And then she just sort of leans over like this. Just stays there. You guys do anything?
Guys, we could push her over. It'd be over.
Whoa.
You then
Listen,
you then start to hear
fight, dude.
Steps coming towards you. Okay.
I turn to look. Is it security?
It is.
She just threw the body over the edge. Get her.
It's a security guard named Leon Mantleberry, and he says, "What's up, gentlemen?"
Now, before I show him the video, I send it to my cloud.
Okay.
So I back it up.
He says, "What's the problem, gentlemen? You said that you saw somebody."
Yeah, Patricia, she just threw a body over the back of the ship. Got a point where she's
when he looks over there, Patricia is walking away from the railing now, back kind of the direction she came. And he's like, Patricia, like this. But she doesn't stop. So he starts moving, forward and over to where she is. Patricia.
Right, I'm gonna follow him. In case he snaps and goes after him, he needs some help. He's pretty big.
He gets on his thing, I don't know. He said, whatever. And,
we got 10 in progress.
He goes up to her, and he doesn't have a gun, but he's got he puts his hand on her shoulder and he's like, Patricia. And he spins her around, and she's just, sort of glazed over. And he's like, Patricia. And he whacks her a couple times, and she blinks, and she's like, what the hell? And she looks around. She says, how the hell did I get here? And I say, Patricia, what the hell? And he says, these gentlemen say they saw you throw a body over the railing. And she says, what are you talking about? You're insane. You guys gonna do anything?
I want to talk to the captain. I don't even want to let the security guard know I have the video.
Okay.
I want to just peer over real fast. I mean, I know the ship's moving, but just peer off kind of where she was looking. Just kind of as a whole, like, nostalgic kind of detective, like, what was she looking at?
All right.
And then just look at the water and then walk away.
I feel like Francis is just too sketched. He's not really functioning at this point.
Brian, you go to the back of the ship. Do a spot hidden roll for me.
32, I pass.
As you look over the ship, of course, you can see the water churning, and the wake going off into the darkness. Yeah. The sky, it's still crystal clear, sparkly stars, barely any moon out. And you think you see something in the water. You're not sure at first, but the more you look, the more you start to think, are there sharks following the ship? They kind of look like sharks. There's fins sticking up out of the water. There's a lot of them, like 7 or 8 of them maybe. And they're big.
Chip.
I run over.
Are you seeing this too? Look, there's like sharks.
Do I see anything?
Yeah. When he starts pointing them out, at first you think they're just waves, because it's dark and it's hard to see. But there are, lights on the ship that are a little bit illuminating the water. Yeah, there's sharks or something down there.
Brian, it's goddamn mermaids. I told you.
I'm going to start taking pictures.
Okay.
Just a couple.
All right. The contrast and the color, it's not easy.
It's not going to be anything good, but
are pretty good, but yeah. And when you think once you think you sort of see them, now they seem to be lessening. Like maybe they're done.
Ate the body? What the heck were they doing back here?
Leon has told Patricia, I'm going to have to secure you, take you and secure you. And she's upset and angry. She's insulted because I have been an exemplary employee from, for 5 years and all of that. But he's going to secure her. So she's going to be secured because he saw her. He didn't see her throw any body over, but by this time also a few more security guards arrive.
Okay, but Francis, you're studying serial killers. Would she have already killed somebody else, or does she get rid of the body first?
I think he just dropped.
Oops. We'll wait for a second until he comes back.
Okay,
there he goes. Good.
I'm back. They got me.
Francis, no!
Yeah, that was weird. I'm not
The
sure
mermaids, they got Francis! The roaches, they came to collect their debts.
They were just so pretty. I had to go look at them,
They're the roaches. They're coming to collect our gambling money. I know they're find us someday.
All right.
Francis, so you study serial killers. Do you know where, like, if they would have killed somebody and then dumped them over, or you just have no idea? What do you think?
I think it just doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, one second they're, leaving it out and branding them, and then, the very next night after everything's been discovered, they're tossing it in the ocean. I mean, I guess it could be because they know we can't do any real testing on the bodies here on the boat, so they want us to see it and then get rid of it before we can actually do anything about it.
That they're trying to send us some kind of message, but I don't know what kind of message that would be. Who are they sending it to?
I don't know, but A, Francis, enough caffeine for tonight. B,
Talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I'm going to run to the restroom.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
now she was in a daze, like she didn't know what she was doing. Now, unless she's like a really good actress, it seemed like she didn't know what she was doing.
And what the heck was out in the water? I've never seen sharks
Goddamn
do that.
mermaids.
Well, okay, Chip. So do these mermaids of yours, do they have any mind control capabilities, you know? Are they associated with these symbols at all?
Oh, this has nothing to do with the case, but no, siren song, I don't know. But really, in all seriousness, I don't know what the hell that was. But sharks would follow a boat if they were getting fed 3 days in a row. Like they
Right,
follow.
but that many sharks getting fed off of
Yeah.
body? There's so many of them.
Because I know they'll follow behind fishing vessels to get the scraps. So,
Or has there just been more bodies that haven't been left?
maybe that hasn't been reported.
That's true.
Dump a few, leave one.
Yeah, but why would
That's
you
not the
leave
case.
one?
Yeah, why leave the one? That's right.
And the symbol, it's something to do with that symbol.
Right, so why kill more people to have the sharks follow us? Dump them off. We've just been talking about if they killed more people and dumped them without leaving them to attract all these sharks.
Oh, what does the kitchen do with the spare, like leftover food?
Don't think that.
I mean, it'd probably be illegal.
Waste management is extremely important aboard a ship like this. So yeah, they don't keep all the waste until they get to port. So let's sort of give you some information. This is what you're going to find out this evening. One is your recording devices in the morgue. Indeed, all you see is her come in unceremoniously. She's got that sort of glazed look on her face. She walks right past your recording devices, picks up the body, and walks out. Okay. They detain her, and of course, I assume that you guys show them what's going on. Okay. The captain doesn't know what to do with this. She's like, I don't understand. She says she's been an exemplary employee. She's never done anything. I've known her for years. It makes no sense at all.
But I also point out to the captain that it seemed like she didn't know what she was doing, even when we confronted her and security confronted her.
Well, she says, I don't know. We're going to keep her confined. But I agree. I mean, looking at it, it looks like she was sleepwalking, what it looks like she was doing.
So I've heard of a thing called dissociative disorder. It's usually follows some sort of trauma or depression where people just they split into something else. It's possible.
Have we checked your pockets looking for any metal brand?
I mean, they had her empty her pockets. She doesn't have any kind of metal brand.
When the body turns up, she must have stashed it. Or just accomplice.
Needless to say, all of this just keeps adding to the look on the poor captain's face. Very disappointed, very upset, very sad that this is all going on at this point on her ship. She's sad that there's people who've been killed. So far, she hasn't had to inform their families. Most of them didn't really have. She's going to eventually have to inform the families that do exist. She's like, you know, I don't know what to do, gentlemen. Tomorrow we arrive in Maui, and you know, we should be able to turn this over to the authorities. So thank you for all your help.
Captain,
Yes.
something, and maybe it's my investigative side, something tells me this isn't over. I wouldn't just for lack of a better term, sleep on it tonight. Like, I think everybody should still be out there alert before we get to Maui. Something tells me this isn't over.
I agree with Chip.
I hope that it's over.
I do also, but she didn't seem to be, unless she had a complete psychological breakdown, split personality, that maybe there's an accomplice, or maybe she was being hypnotized, alien control. I don't know. Something's not right here.
Well, keep me apprised of what's going on. And she says, I'm sorry, I'm ruining your vacation. And she turns around and she leaves.
But how possible is this that she has a psychological disorder? Because I mean, I don't want to jump to tinfoil hats or anything, but this is pretty odd, even for us. I've never written anything nearly this wild.
Well, you're talking about Patricia. The captain has given you enough access to where you can pretty much get into anywhere except maybe, the bridge and, places that you could actually do some damage if you even fell against the panel,
Right.
You go to the engineering.
Let's go check out her room.
Okay.
This kind of sicko kind of killer is going to have some kind of stuff, right? That's how it works, right, Francis? They have little mementos and other stuff.
Some people do. If she did have some sort of mental break, there might not be, but with the branding, it's...
Maybe the other personality stashed some stuff there,
Maybe.
All right. So you head over to Patricia Swift's cabin. And it's a fairly small cabin. It's kind of Spartan, She doesn't collect a lot of things. However, she does have pictures on the wall. She definitely, you can tell from the pictures that she has some friends, but it doesn't look like she has anything in the way of, family. I mean, there might be a picture of mom and dad, but they look very old, so they're probably dead by now. There's a lot of pictures of her climbing. She likes to climb in the Alps. And do a spot hidden roll for me.
01. Tom, 01.
Woo! You notice the texture of metal every single bolt.
All right, so you start looking around. Chip, one thing that you notice is there are a number of pictures of her with the captain up on the bridge. There's pictures of them, at various spots on the ship. The captain smiling, and her, of course, looking very stoic. And there's one picture you find of what looks like a forest. It could be anywhere in the world, you don't know. But the captain and her and a couple of other people are on a hike. So the captain does know her. There's evidence that looks like that she's been on board the ship for years. And you don't get any sense of a possible relationship between them. No, there's not really that. But there is a sense that they're friends. Obviously, they're, the kind of coworker friends that you'd have. And let's see, I'm trying to find it. You got an 01. So you look through her desk drawers and you look through things like that. And eventually you find a folded up piece of paper. And when you open it up, this is what it looks like.
Oh. Look at this, guys.
Okay, so delivered from the past.
Why don't you read it out loud for us?
Deliver us from the past. Welcome us into the future. All works towards good, to the fulfillment of nature. Anger of fire, fire of speech, breath of knowledge. Render us free from harm. Return to us the innocence that once we knew. Complete the circle. Make us at one with nature and the elements. Sing your children, Nug and Yeb, and Rag Tagath. Earth Mother, pool of all life, black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. La la nug shub niggurath.
Does any of that sound familiar to you, Chip? That's not
Can I make a Cthulhu Mythos roll?
Sure.
No.
Well, you guys can do knowledge if you have a cult, or if you have if you don't have a cult, just do a knowledge roll.
Well, if it is an occult, I pass the occult, or I could spend 6
I
luck
passed
points.
my occult with an 8, and I have like a 40, so that's an extreme success.
Well, I mean, you are aware of the writings of H.P. Lovecraft.
Okay, that's what I was just wondering. Is he an actual author in this world?
Sure.
Yeah, this sounds something straight from my main man HP. What is going on?
Tom, I would have passed on a cold if I want to spend. If you allow me to spend 6 luck, I would have passed my Cthulhu.
That's cool. When you see the name Shub-Niggurath, then it immediately brings to mind H.P. Lovecraft, and there's been a lot of speculation that Lovecraft was actually writing about real things that he just couched as if they were fiction stories. And to see this now,
he was the unknown prophet.
The black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. The symbol that you saw on the brand does sort of seem like the horns on a goat or something like that.
Do you think these people just total crazy? This isn't. People have written about this stuff before. Stephen King wrote about it. The fan who's so dedicated that it blurs the reality.
I'm like white as a ghost right now, and I'm just still holding that paper, and I'm just passing it to one of you guys, kind of just you see things working in my mind. I'm just completely freaked out right now.
Yeah, and I look at that, and I look at the picture of them on the hike in the woods, or the Can I I want to take the picture off the wall, see if there's any look at it closer, anything behind it.
Nothing behind it, except there is a date written on the back, which is, I don't know, 2012.
Okay, so it's old. Not recent. And we've checked drawers for the brand and other things, looking for that.
Yeah, you don't find anything like that.
Now, of course I know Sasquatch is real and aliens are real. Of course, who would ever doubt that? But Shub-Niggurath, that's just insanity. But
what, is Cthulhu below us too now? What the heck?
If that is
Atlantic,
or is it that she just bought into it so deeply that her mind broke?
Yeah.
Either way, it's not. This shit just got real. People die, whatever. But this spooked me to my core.
But at least she's locked up now.
I think we have to bring this to the captain's attention immediately.
At this point, too, it's probably about. Let's see. We put our timetable out here. We were on. You caught what's her name about 4 a.m. was it?
Patricia somewhere like that.
And then you had to answer questions and talk, and we'll say it's about 6:30 a.m. Okay. And Rupa knocks on the door behind you. The door is actually open, and you guys are, your guys are looking in Patricia's stuff. And Rupa knocks on the door, and he says, "Well, gentlemen, I'm afraid that we have another one, and we've actually quarantined off the area because we don't want anybody seeing this."
Where?
It's let me just take you there. It's easier for me to take you. He takes you down around, and you're sort of towards the side of the ship, and they've got it quarantined off like they're doing maintenance, which it's obviously they just put this up there.
Please watch your step. Maintenance in progress.
And I want you all to do a spot hidden roll.
All right, come on. I just want to make one of these tonight.
I failed by 2.
I failed by 8.
Does anybody want to do a luck roll?
Can I spend 2 luck to get
add
it?
luck? Yes.
Yeah, I'll spend 2.
Yeah.
I'll get it to a pass.
I'd have to spend like 40. So
you're about 10 feet away from the area he's taking you to. And Brian, you look down and you notice that Rupa has a bandage on his hand.
Rupa, what happened to you?
He's like, "What? Oh, this? I snagged my hand on a piece of metal." He said, "It's nothing." Oh. And you arrive at the spot, and he takes you around the corner. The only way that you could actually see this is if you were at sea looking in. So it's a little like T-junction, but no passenger can see. There is a wall, and the wall has been slightly damaged, and I'll explain why. Because there is a man pinned up against the wall with a spear gun shot right through his heart, and he has the brand burned right onto the side of his jaw.
Oh my goodness.
So I hurl over the side of the ship.
Okay, if you want to. You can do a constitution roll to see if you can keep it in.
Yeah, I rolled a 91.
Okay, you hurl. All right. It's hard to tell when this could have happened. It could have happened before or after Patricia did what she did. There's surprisingly little blood, only because the spear gun is rather sharp and thin, so it went directly into the guy's heart. He didn't die of bleeding to death. He died because his heart stopped when the spear gun went through.
How much of the spear is sharp? Like, is it just like a small tip at the end, or is it like
it's a small tip at the end?
Okay.
Like an arrow, but there's no flare.
Okay.
It's meant to be shot underwater, really.
So we all heard him say about the hand thing when Brian asked?
Yeah, you probably did.
I tap the guys on I put my hands on their shoulder, and I go to I call Rupia.
Yes.
And I say Shagna. I'm mispronouncing it. Shagna.
Shub-Niggurath?
Thank you. I just was not coming out of my mouth today. And I say that to him and look at his face. See if he has any kind of expression.
He just sort of looks at you like, I'm sorry?
Oh, no, nothing. Forget about it. It was worth a shot. And then
I'm going to whisper into Chip's ear. Well, you remember Patricia didn't know it. she did either.
Yeah, I was just a shot in the dark, you know?
Mhm.
And wasn't the captain looking a little run down the second night?
Oh, yeah,
After-
I mean,
Yeah,
the
but I don't know if
captain
it was stress
looks
or...
like she's had a lot of stress on her. And she's got 10 million tons of stress on her right now.
I was just wondering if it jumped from...
It's gotten progressively worse.
Okay,
Now, she doesn't look ill.
all right.
She
No,
just-
just...
She looks like she's extremely upset.
Okay.
And Rup was like, well, this ends today because we arrive in Maui. I'm not sure if the authorities will allow us to get off the ship because the murderer could get off the ship and get away.
Yeah. Now, do I know anything about that the goat? Like any place that would lead me to a clue of where to search or look or...
Do a spot hit. I'm not a spot hit, and do a Cthulhu Mythos roll.
It's gonna be hard. I only got 30, 34. So
No.
I failed. I'm just trying to think.
Somewhere where they would gather on the ship, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any... Yeah, there's no, like... Never mind.
Well, and I'm still...
nowhere with trees or anything on the boat.
No.
Yeah.
Man, what's this tree doing here?
What?
Yeah.
Well, I'm still thinking that it's just a psychopath, you know, like somebody who wants to believe so badly that they're committing this.
So this is Larry Moore. From the evidence you can see, he was out here smoking. It looks like he had come down the stairwell and was just leaning up against the wall. And whoever it was came around the corner just where you are and shot him with a spear gun and then branded him.
These are random. These people aren't related at all. Just targets of opportunity.
They were all smoking? I'm missing something.
Well, that's
I think
just
they
an
were alone
excuse.
at the time.
You didn't see any real evidence of other people smoking, but this guy was smoking.
Yeah, just off by himself at night. And they just killed him.
So it's still like 6 in the morning, right?
Yeah, probably about 7 by now.
About 7. All right.
Where are these guns stored? These spear guns? Rupa, is that his name? I'm gonna ask him.
Spear guns. There's not like standard spear guns. For somebody would have had to have brought that with them.
Yeah,
they don't really have scuba diving on.
so somebody going to Hawaii to go spear fishing would bring their own in their luggage, but it would probably be
Right.
stored somewhere.
Right. Now, most of your luggage you have with you in your rooms. So it's very likely if they brought something like that it might be in their room. However, some people bring a lot of luggage, and if it's not in your room, it would be stored in the hold.
It's worth a shot.
It's worth a shot.
All right. So, I'm gonna go ahead and ignore that pun.
He's
and,
really he was really fishing for the joke.
Oh,
Uh,
you gents there. I'm gonna go ahead and roll forensics to see if Mr. Larry here is entered rigor mortis or not. Oh, whoa! Look at that! I actually got. Yeah, and no,
Well,
that's just
from everything that you can see, he must have been shot sometime around maybe 5 a.m.
That's after we.
that's concerning.
Also, you
like
passed the roll. Good job. Good job on making a success.
Yeah, right.
Woo.
I gotta stop using these dice.
Very
Man.
unsettling success.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't really find any additional evidence here, but you guys are due to arrive very shortly in Maui. And as you guys are discussing this amongst yourselves, and you've left that, and they're cleaning it up, you start to hear. Go ahead and do a listen roll for me. Might as well do it.
I was also thinking, I wanted to see who else was in that picture with them. The captain, her, and maybe the other people in the picture. I got a 15.
I passed with a hard success on my listen roll. 22.
Okay.
I got a regular success on my listen roll.
Okay. Well, to answer Chip's quick question, you don't know.
Okay.
Just look like people. A couple of men, a woman, other women, whatever. Let's just think they were on a hike. As you guys are walking, and you're chit-chatting with one another about what this could be, and you're being discreet. Maybe you've come up with sort of code language to talk about it without having people over here. You hear a couple of phrases from other passengers as you're walking, like, well, where is it? I don't see it. And you don't think anything of it as you're going, and then you hear somebody else say, well, we're supposed to be there. And about that time, it dawns on you that the island of Maui is nowhere in sight.
Hmm.
I want to talk to the captain.
All right.
Cautiously talk to the captain.
Does anyone know how to pilot a boat?
When you go to the con tower, it's kind of restricted on who can go in there, but you guys have been given sort of carte blanche by the captain. And some of the stewards now are familiar with who you are. Most of them are. There's kind of a bit of a ruckus going on. And you can hear, as you're approaching the area, you can hear the captain using some rather bad expletives, but she's like, what the fuck do you mean that you don't know where we are? And as you approach, you can see she's hovering over the navigator, and he's trying desperately on the equipment to figure out, and he says, everything here says that we should be, just 20 miles from Maui. It should be right there. And she's like, well, it's obviously not right there. And it's a hullabaloo. Something's wrong with the navigation. Where are we?
I read something like this in a Tom Clancy book once. Can we use traditional methods at night? Do we have to just wait, look at the stars, see where we are?
Yeah, that's possible. If you're starting to discuss this with them,
as Brian's giving his unsolicited advice,
the captain says, well, I have an old antique sextant in the in my cabin, in my stateroom. And she, of course, she would know how to use it. But yeah, you've got to wait until tonight. It should be easy sighting. If I find I don't know if you find the North Star or the South Star or the Pole Star, whatever. In any case, this is the ultimate problem. The problem is that they don't know where they are. And there's nothing to indicate that they're hoping that they just can't see Maui. Maybe there's a haze, but it looks crystal clear outside. And by now, people on the boat are starting to ask a lot of questions. So, if there's anything that you need, anything you want to talk to her about,
Captain, I know there's absolutely crazy things going on here, but give me 5 minutes of your time. Where where did you go on a hike with what's her
Patricia.
name? Patricia.
Whatever.
Patricia.
A hike? What are you talking about?
You were in the woods with Patricia.
Oh, well, that was years ago.
What do you know about this? And I show her the letter, the little pamphlet thing.
She looks down at it and she's like, some sort of a prayer.
This is a occult text. This was found in her room.
And she just sort of folds it up and hands it back to you, and she says, I don't know anything about that. And I don't know, I as I said before, I've known Patricia for years. And we're not exactly, she's like, we're friends. That's about it.
You have to. Oh, sorry. Go.
Sorry, 2 questions. Just
She seems very irritated at this point because obviously,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you reach anybody over the radio?
she's like, well, let's see what we can find. So yeah, I mean, they're able to reach land, but at this point, they're not able to figure out where they are.
Okay. And then 2, we should show the note to Patricia, see how she reacts to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So you head back to where she's being confined. She's oddly, she doesn't fidget. So she's just sitting there. She's technically under lock and key, but she's not really under lock and key. She's being observed. There's security there all the time. You show it to her, and she doesn't even know what the hell that is.
Okay, back to your theory of mind control there, Chip.
Yep. Something, hypnotism or drugs or something is controlling these people. And maybe whoever was steering the ship last night steered us way off course.
Yes. Patricia, did you interact with any strange characters when we first started? Anybody just crazy out of the ordinary?
What sort of strange characters?
This was found in your room. This paper was in your room.
She's like, no, it wasn't. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not in my room.
Just like you didn't dump a body layer. How'd you wind up on the deck last night? Can you explain that? I'm not accusing you. I'm trying to come out. I'm trying to help you. She just goes, she's I don't know. She doesn't know how to answer you. So she just goes quiet. Right. So you appear on the deck last night at 5 in the morning.
4 in the morning.
4 in the morning, mysteriously.
So you say.
Well, we spoke to you. You were there. And I show her the video of her. She's like, I don't know. I'm just trying to come to a conclusion of where this paper could have come out.
Remember what the last thing you did that evening was? Yesterday?
Yeah. Same thing I do every day.
Well?
Oh, you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Unless it has nothing to do with the story.
No, she says, well, she actually kind of surprises you because she knows, she's extremely regulated. Everything she knows, she follows a schedule every day. It's like this. She says, at 2 o'clock I do this, at 3 o'clock I do this, at 4 o'clock I do this. And basically after, she's got a really sharp mind. At the end, she says, the last thing I do is, I clean up my station. I go to the captain. I ask her if there's anything else she needs. She says, no, I wish her good night, and I go to bed. I read for 2 hours. Not that trash that you read. It's the real good stuff. And then I go to bed.
She did it.
Now, anytime in the last 2 weeks, can you recall possibly some little minuscule detail of your regime not adding up at all? Even the simplest.
What
I'm not the machine. Of course, there's all these little things.
What have you been reading lately, Patricia?
Oh, jeez, you guys are... She's been reading Men, Ships, and the Sea.
So not H.P. Lovecraft. Okay. That's not
Nothing esoteric, nothing you found in port someplace. No.
Okay, so the last person she interacted with was the captain.
The last person I interact with every night is the captain. Unless they come and get me and tell me, to do something.
When you go in, when the ship is in the port, do you take an excursion regularly?
Sometimes. I like to go climbing in the mountains.
Okay.
What was your last excursion?
She tells you. It was in, we'll say Germany somewhere she went.
Did you recall everything you did? Did you maybe...
Precisely, she says. And she says, do you want me to recount everything that I ate on that trip? I mean...
I'm just trying to
right.
show that...
After 20 minutes of this, you realize that... Well, here's the problem. If she knows anything, she's...
Yep, lockjaw about it.
Unreadable.
Yep, not going to tell us.
Okay. But she does seem to know the details of everything that she does. So she's probably got like a, I don't know, eidetic memory or whatever they call it.
Right. But she doesn't remember what she was doing. She's on the body.
Right.
And the last person she talked to was the captain, and she was with the captain on those hikes. You think the captain could be captivated by the same thing? We should try to talk to some of the people who interact with the captain a lot.
Well, we haven't always...
officer, see how often he sees her if she goes off on her own at all.
And we haven't spoken too much to Rupia.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of
like if Priscilla was the one doing it, she's obviously, I mean, she doesn't line up with the,
All right. So you want to go find Rupa?
Yes.
Yep.
Well, after searching around for a while and after asking and inquiring, it's a big ship. So you can't find Rupa.
Huh.
You find a cat.
We find my cat.
Yeah.
What are you doing on the boat, dude?
Yeah, what's the cat?
What the heck?
Wait, that's not a cat. It's a shark.
No.
It's a cat shark.
Cat sharks. I knew it.
Yeah, you can't seem to find Rupa.
Could we have someone?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Have them paged.
Yeah, you try that, and Rupa does not show up.
Oh, crap. He seemed like a quality employee, I guess.
He must just be on a union sanctioned break.
The roaches. He had gambling debts too. They got him. He's got to be. Why would he be not reporting in?
Unless he's under the same spell.
Yeah, but who's casting the spell on them?
Or I'm just using that term loosely. I don't really think somebody's casting the spell.
The sharks?
Well, let's move on to the afternoon. Is there anything else you guys want to do?
Just every once in a while have Rupa paged, like every 2 hours.
Okay. He doesn't seem to show up.
if after like after like 2 to 4 hours, I'll also have security, put a word in for security if they see him to have him report to us.
All right.
And I'll tell them we're going to be at the restaurant or the bar. Like, you know, like.
And I'm going to be low-key panicking throughout the afternoon and drinking at least a couple shots of whiskey.
Okay. The evening goes on. You have your dinner. There's, of course, partying going on the ship. And everything seems to be fine. Are you guys going to try to stay up at all and wander?
We're way too tired. We've been up for like a day.
Oh, wait, we got to see the stars.
Right.
More caffeine.
All right. Well, early, I'd say it's probably about, we'll say about 10 o'clock. Okay. And you can see, you guys are curious about the stars in the sextant. As you are walking towards the con tower, you can see that on the very, very top of the con tower, there's a platform where the officers can get out there and actually see, out there. You can see there's a couple of officers up there, including the captain, and she's got something golden shining in her hands, obviously, and she's doing something with it. It takes you about 5 minutes to get up where they are, and the captain has the sextant, and she's doing a reading, and she says finally that as far as, if I'm reading this correctly, we're about 1,200 miles away from anything. We're out in the middle of nowhere. And
in the vicinity of like the Pacific Ocean, right?
Yeah, you're in the Pacific Ocean.
Just out in the middle.
Right, well, we haven't changed oceans. That's a good thing.
But you're out in the middle of nowhere. She actually shows you the area on the map that you are, but at least according to what the stars tell her. And she's very upset, very angry. And she had them practically dismantle the navigation console and checked for fried circuits or anything like that, and nothing is found. And everybody do a spot hidden.
I pass with I think an extreme with a 10. Yes.
Okay.
91.
All right. So, Chip, you're looking up at the sky. Who got the extreme?
I did.
Brian did. Brian, you're looking at this from the top of this con tower, which you're 240 feet up. Okay, above the water. You're really high up there. You're looking around, and you turn towards the back of the ship. And when you look at the back of the ship, you start to see something odd, like a glow. It's orange, and it's getting brighter and brighter, and you realize that there's something on fire back at the back end of the ship.
Fire, guys, look. And I kind of just start.
And all of the officers
turn
turn around and look, and somebody hits the fire alarm button. I don't know what it sounds like. And you hear a ringing, and immediately the ship sort of comes alive because people have been. Oh, I didn't say this in the beginning, but you guys had one of those things where you guys all know how to get into the safe, the life pots and all that. You did that the first day. We just didn't need to go through it. So it becomes a fire drill. And of course, people start coming out of their cabins. They start coming out on the decks. They know where they're supposed to go. A lot of them are assuming that it is a drill. But there's definitely something burning on the back end of the ship. What do you guys do?
I guess we should head over there.
Yeah, what the heck?
All right. So you force your way through the crowds.
Wait,
Yeah.
we're going towards the fire?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You don't have to come with us.
I mean, I don't feel safe alone, so I will.
I just saw way too many sharks in the water to ever want to get in a lifeboat right now.
I mean that is also terrible.
You see the middle and end of this, and what it is there is a sort of a boom that sticks out, and they can hang flags from it at the back end of the ship. Hanging from this rope by some sort of a rope or a cable is what looks like two large animals. At first you think, are they cows? But you realize when you look at them that they are goats. Only they're enormous. They're big. They're like donkey-sized goats. And they have multiple horns on their heads, like some sort of a mutant goat. And they've been doused with something and set on fire.
I'll make a sanity roll, really.
Sanity roll.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like Satan's children.
Ooh, and I passed with a 25. Look at that.
I did pass. How many points, though?
Oh, if you passed, just a couple of points.
I'm taking 3.
1d4.
You said it's D4?
Yeah, 1d4. Yeah,
Okay.
For failure?
for failure.
Just 2
Oh.
if you pass or whatever.
Yeah. So you guys are once again just shocked and horrified. And there's not really any danger of it catching the ship on fire. But you see one of the stewards climb up onto the pole with a knife, and he's going to cut it loose. And you see him get up there, and he starts cutting at it, and the whole thing drops down into the ocean below. You guys look into the ocean.
Yep.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Goddamn mermaids.
When you look down at the ocean, let's put it this way: you guys are standing there, and you know what you think you might see. So you kind of keep your eyes looking up towards the sky, and then you look at the horizon, which is black on the horizon. And you look down at the water, and in fact, there are sharks. There's a feeding frenzy going on as this thing plummets towards the water. And because it's on fire, it sort of lights everything up for a moment. And you suddenly think, are there sharks down there that are too big? I mean, like megalodon-sized sharks? And everybody do spot hiddens.
Aha,
I pass with a 41.
41 exactly also. Me too.
Francis needs glasses is the
Okay.
conclusion I'm drawing.
Francis, you see the sharks. You see something like that. But Brian and Chip, you notice that there are things about the sharks that are wrong. It's almost like some of them have whiskers like giant catfish, except that they're writhing in the water like tentacles. Some of them have multiple rows of eyes going back. And you're not sure, but there's something down there that's bioluminescent down under the ship, floating along with it. And there are monstrous shark mouths that are now ripping the goats to shreds. And the whole thing sort of becomes an underwater feeding frenzy. And you can see blood boiling up like this. And of course, now there's people everywhere. And other people are seeing this and screaming. And women are fainting. I don't know if women really faint anymore, but women, screaming and men grabbing their wives, and there's a hullabaloo, and some of the stewards
reaching up to get my throat. Sorry.
The steward that cut the rope is like looking down in absolute horror, and there suddenly starts to develop what looks like it's going to be a panic, and people start running, back to their cabins to get away from the back end of the ship. You guys do.
Try and stay away from the sides of the boat.
Yeah,
Like-
back up slowly, and try to. I want to start calling up to the person who's up, like hanging over it, like stay calm, and like I'm trying to stay calm. And I'm trying to help him wiggle his way back down.
He does. I mean, he manages. He knows his way around a ship, but he's like, "What in God's name is that? What are those things down there?" You know, and
That damn meltdown in Japan. All that radiation in the water.
the crowds start to move. It's difficult at this point. People are kind of panicking, and they don't know whether they should go back to their cabins or stay on the deck, or some people are curious and they can't stop looking.
Is anybody getting into lifeboats?
No, they have to make that manageable for people to get in those before so they don't really have access to them yet.
Okay.
And the night is particularly dark, except for the stars up in the sky. There's no moon at all. It's been getting progressively less and less. So it's a new moon. And as you're working your way back towards the front of the ship, everybody do spot hiddens.
17.
4.
73.
Yeah, Francis, we got to pick you up some reading class, something.
All right.
Seriously, man.
So the one whoever passed, you look up, and it's hard because people are moving all over the ship. But you look up and you see someone up on the sun deck. Okay. And they're moving. There's kind of a platform that hangs up high, and you see somebody moving up there, and you're not sure, but when you're looking, you're thinking, well, is it somebody swimming or somebody, bathing? It's above the pool. And then you realize that this is the person is naked. And you're pretty sure that it's Patricia Swift. Okay. Oh. And you see her go facing in that direction, facing towards where the goats fell into the water. And she throws her arms up like this. And you can hear her yelling something.
Make a listen roll to hear it, or?
Sure. Yeah, because there's noise and there's a crowd. But...
I failed.
27, I pass.
Okay.
Can I burn some luck to pass?
Sure.
All right, yay.
Well, you start to make out words. You can hear all works towards good, anger of fire, fire of speech, complete the circle, make us one with nature and the elements. You hear sing your children, Nug and Yeb and Ran Tagath. And as this is happening, you suddenly notice a huge storm cloud forming over the water right behind the ship. And the wind suddenly picks up. And people are panicking. You hear her screaming out, "Earth Mother, pool of life, black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. Ya, Shub-Nagurath," she's yelling. And you begin to hear cracks of thunder, and you see lightning bolts all around these clouds. And all of a sudden, one of these lightning bolts shoots out of the cloud and strikes Patricia on top of the ship. And when it does, her blood boils and her body explodes because it's turned to steam inside her. It explodes. And when that happens, all hell breaks loose. The water around the ship begins to roil, and there's lights and swirling stuff in the clouds, and there's flashes of lightning. When they flash, there's something in the clouds, something massive with tentacles. And as you're looking, huge pillar-like things come flying out of the clouds and splash down into the water around the ship. And when you're looking at them, they're massive. And are they covered in hair? And suddenly one of these massive pillars comes down and crashes into the back end of the ship, and it looks like an enormous goat's foot. And you hear this deafening sound in the thunder that sounds like that sort of goat sound echoing through the air, and it's almost deafening. And now people are freaking out. The whatever it is begins to sort of push the ship down into the water from the back, and so that the boat starts to rock back. Now people are heading for lifeboats.
I go, boys, if you can't beat them, join them. And I take out the paper.
Yeah, I was just about to say we need to read the darn thing.
I start chanting that thing off the paper.
Really?
You know what? Fucking Francis is in.
Yeah, I joined in. I start to even like take off some layers. So she got something. She brought it here.
Do a luck roll. Well, she's dead. She's gone.
Exactly.
I passed with a 16.
I passed.
You all three passed?
Yep.
Exactly, though.
Oh, good. Somebody, because there's people all around you. You're now in a crowd of people. Somebody just bashes into you, and the piece of paper flies out of your hand. It's flying off into the ocean. Hey, you passed. What do you do now?
What can we do? Like, see if we can get to a lifeboat.
Yep.
Okay. Well, the whole men, women, and children first. I mean, women and children first. Nobody has time for that.
That left the second the goat thing showed up.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a party boat. No children allowed.
You managed to actually all together get into a lifeboat, and the sound around you is deafening. The wind is blowing. The ship is is rocking forward. And before these lifeboats hold about 60 people. But when you jump into yours, only about 14 or 15 people have gotten in before somebody hits the button and the whole thing drops into the ocean, knocking you off your feet. You can do a dex roll to see if you're injured at all.
30.
Oh, I definitely am. 96.
Yeah, so you're knocked off your feet, and you maybe sprain your ankle and all that. And the thing falls into the ocean, starts to drift away from the boat, and you can see as you're drifting away that this Shobnaguras, the ship is breaking into pieces as she's pushing it into the water, and the sharks in the water and other things are just having a field day eating people, and you hear screams and you hear her, all this, and it's fucking nightmarish. You can all do sanity rolls, but the result is ultimately that you fall on the ground and you curl up into fetal positions and probably black out from the terror and the violence. And at some point, you come back to yourselves, and the boat that you're in, you can feel it rocking, and these are kind of contained structures usually. You hear a noise from outside, and there's a knocking. Well, it's not knocking at your door, but the hatch is opened, and you can see that there is a small yacht-like ship, which is actually the captain's gig. So it's part of the ship that if the captain needs to go back and forth to the land or whatever, he uses the captain's gig, or she uses the captain's gig. And you can see that the captain is on board, and there's maybe 30 people on board that ship too. And as the hatch opens, she says, come on. There's safety in numbers. And you can see that it's daylight. So you guys have been out for quite a while. She says, come on. There's safety in numbers. There will be rescue people here soon.
All right, so we go.
And I'd like you to all do a psychology roll.
Well, yeah, sure.
Hard success.
I pass with a 29.
As you exit the safety, the life pod, and you come onto the captain's deck, and you see all the people around you, and you look at the captain, you realize that she's delighted. And that's the end of our story.
Oh,
that was good. Oh, man.
She was
I like
obviously happy because we're her favorite authors, guys. There's
Yes.
nothing to worry about.
She loved my books. She was like,
Yeah, she gets to see the end of Dan Dangerous because she saved.
No, that's not it at all.
I guess as much.
All right.
I want to shove her off the side.
This was the captain's plan all along.
Yeah.
She and what's her name? Patricia were worshippers of Shub-Niggurath.
Yep.
She planned this for years. Her intention was to sacrifice thousands of people to the Black Goat. She could indeed control these people. She had that kind of power. What she did was she was the one who was actually committing the murders. These were all meant to be sacrifices. Now, her demeanor kept getting more and more disappointed because she didn't think she'd have to work at it this hard. She thought that the first sacrifice would work, and it didn't work. And day after day, it wasn't working. And she was becoming more and more and more upset. And her final sort of attempt was the goats. Now, you didn't find the goats. The goats were in the hold. If you'd have gone looking for Rupa, you might discover that Rupa was actually in charge of taking care of the goats. And the goats were strange, mutated things that Shub-Niggurath, they were going to be sacrificed to her. And Rupa had, in fact, gotten his hand, one of the goats had gotten a hold of his hand and ripped it open. Rupa was actually in hiding because he was in charge of sacrificing the goats at the end. And in the process, he threw himself into the ocean as well. The sharks and the creatures, they came to accept the sacrifices of the goddess.
Right.
And, that's pretty much it.
Did the other group manage to stop them, or did they have the same fate?
Very similar fate.
That was good.
And but they came way closer to actually catching the captain. They actually walked in on the captain when she was in prayer, and they didn't realize what they were seeing. So they just dismissed it. And
I was getting suspicious, but it's just like, it's just them. She has access to everywhere. So I was asking him, like, have you talked to anybody to see, like, if the captain disappears at night? I was thinking along those lines, but
yeah.
She was so distraught. It couldn't have been her. Yeah. No, this one was set up.
Anyways, we can talk about the differences between the two afterwards. Let me go ahead and finish everything. Let's see, our players included Jason Melnichuk Joe Multari and Morgan Llewellyn, with yours truly as Keeper of the Secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We like reading them. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.